Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Um, I don't know what episode it is today. 17 or 18? I know I've done 16, so it's probably 17. Anyways, hope you guys are having a good morning or a good night or a good evening or a good afternoon. I don't know. For me, it is like 7:30 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, decided to come outside and film another episode. Today's topic is something I think is important. It's about gratitude and appreciation, about life, things, just whatever. Appreciating what you have and the people around you. Um, you know, when you pursue what's absent, you lose what's present or what's yours. And to sum it all down, what I'm basically going to talk about today is if you don't appreciate what's around you and you're constantly chasing something that is absent, like you want to gain more, you're gonna lose for what you stand for or lose for what you have. Um, and that lack of appreciation or gratitude can lead to resentment and jealousy and envy, especially compared to others. Like, this guy has something I want, but I can't get it. Anyways, when you overlook what's when you overlook what you have, you learn to lack appreciation. I think that something is, that it comes to mind when it comes to like things like you want to achieve something and you kind of disregard everything that you've already stand for, like the progress that you made as a person, the things that you have, the things I guess you hold in possession that, gives you meaning. And if you lack that appreciation for what you have or whatever you may be like being grateful for, it's not good. And I think appreciation could lead to a lot of things. Chasing isn't universally bad. Chasing goals and such isn't bad, but if you chase what can't be content with what you own and who you are, then it becomes a bad habit. Chasing goals, like not chasing in like the relationship meaning or like I guess in that sort of way. Chasing goals and such, like, being a goal oriented driven person isn't a bad thing, but I do believe that if you chase stuff to, I guess, fill that empty void within inside of you, like that, if I can get enough, once I'm rich, I'll be happy. Once I get this, I'll be happy. Once I get blah, 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 I'll be happy. In the end, you won't. I mean, I will say that like money can buy you happiness. It can buy you contentment, but I don't think it's gonna like lead to happiness. Happiness is something all people can find regardless of wealth or financial status. And you don't want to develop a bad habit of, chasing things because you simply feel incomplete as a person. Um, I feel like first, I feel like finding things, hobbies, topics, interests is what makes you complete as a person. It's not something that you should use to make you complete because you disregard or want to not feel this incompleteness. Because in all times of being a human being, there's gonna be times where you feel incomplete or lack interest in things or just lack interest in life, because that's being human. There's a beautiful aspect in that where, you know, if we never had that like interest or that lack of interest of some days, we would have nothing compared to like, hey, life can be happy. It's like you have to have good and you have to have evil to compare those two things and what's morally right. Utilizing appreciation allows one to stay within the present moment. Appreciating little things. Like right now, I'm, you know, recording an episode, um, looking at trees and grass and the sunlight flickering through the clouds. I I appreciate this. It makes me feel within the present moment, and I'm enjoying whatever is happening now. Talking to you guys, talking to myself, giving advice to you guys on the other side of the screen. Hopefully, this sounds like good advice. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it allows you to be in the present moment because appreciation allows you to be like, I guess it leads to that realization that like you should be thankful for these things and shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. What I mean by this is instead of like having that mindset of like everything's scarce, I've got to get this because I feel incomplete. I got to get this before it runs out. I've got a rarity, I guess. it leads to like a lack of appreciation, because if you have that like scarcity mindset, you're gonna lack appreciation. But if you have an abundance mindset and you feel like, you know, I guess I'm not like take it to its literal sense of like abundance, because if you have an abundance of things, obviously show gratitude. And you can also say that you can show gratitude when having a scarcity mindset. But abundance, what I mean by is just showing more like, I guess, like you're not driven by that fear of like incompleteness. Like you are abundance of, emotions, interests and hobbies. You have an abundance of things, which is good. Don't fall for the comparison trap. Um, this is something I feel like a lot of people do nowadays, especially with social media. Um, like there was this quote that I saw. I was like, this generation is gonna live the lives of others more than their own because of social media. Besides the last part, the quote is, you know, this generation is gonna live the lives of others than their own. And then I added that part. But anyways, yeah, I think that, comparison is a thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to, others. Like, even people that, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, most of the reels that they post is their highlights. They're humans too. Like they put, there's a quote that my grandma said, they put pants on the same way that you do. They're humans at the end of the day. They still have their troubles and their emptiness and their hardships. They just post the good parts because that's their highlight of their life. Um, and that can make like, people fall in this comparison trap of like, I want to live what they want. And I feel like with social media, especially since like it's so normalized, people aren't really self-aware of like the effects of it. And comparison is not fun, man. Comparison just it doesn't allow you to, appreciate who you are as a person. Like if you're constantly comparing, you're constantly like, disregarding your own self in the sense of like you want to have things that other people have that you don't right now. And that's why I'm talking about gratitude, because, this that came up in my mind is like comparison, because I've dealt with comparison and stuff. And the best way to really get out of it is just focus on yourself and delete social media. That's what I did. Worked for me. Obviously, might not work for you guys. Don't delete social media if you need it. Have it. Anyways, focus on what one does. Focus on what one does not own can impact your self perception of one's own worth. Kind of connecting with the comparison thing. You know, that self perception of like, I don't have this, it can determine your self worth, because worth is determined by what you own and what you possess. That's with everything in life, honestly. Like, rich people own a lot more things that are more valuable in society's eye. So they, are more valuable, and I guess their worth is more in the financial sense. But more on like the aspect of what I'm trying to say is like, focusing on what you do not own right now can impact your worth, because you can say, since I don't own this thing, I'm worthless, or since I haven't achieved this thing, I'm worthless. And that negative talk can manifest into the real life and lead to like this, I guess, this bad habit of, this not being your own companion. Because I feel like at the end of the day, you should be your own companion, your own best friend. Like you should learn to be, I guess, more content and more compassionate with yourself. And when you're constantly, you know, like determining your worth based on what you don't owe, um, it can lead to like a low self-esteem, and that's not good. And you know, the mind naturally focus on negativity more because it has flaws. It's flawed. Um, Negativity can lead to a lot of bad things, especially when it comes to like determining your worth, comparing yourself to others. Like that's all negative stuff. And I feel like the brain naturally, highlights negative things because it's flawed. Naturally as humans, we don't want to be flawed, but we're flawed creatures at the end of the day. Um, Gratitude is the key to a fulfilling life. Focusing on what you lack makes life seem less fulfilling compared to focusing on what you own. And then a quote, comparison is the thief of joy. Gratitude is the key of life because if you can focus on what you have, it gives you more like a sense of like appreciation and like fulfillment. Like I'm thankful for all the things. Like when I talk to God, I'm a religious person, I'm Christian. When I talk to God in the morning at night, I always like the second thing I say is thank you for this, that, this. Like sometimes I'll be specific and sometimes I won't, but at the end of the day, I feel like just saying thank you can really be impactful to anyone, God, your parents, yourself. Thanking yourself is an act of appreciation in itself. And if you're always focusing on what you don't owe or like own, you're going to feel that like emptiness of like because it's not there. If you can't own something that isn't there, that's emptiness. That's a void. That's I guess just something that like it's gonna I guess involve incompleteness because you can't always determine your life on what you don't own. You have to determine on what you do own, what you possess as a person, as a character. Life feels empty because you are constantly chasing. Whoever this line may hit on the other side of the screen, life can feel empty when you're constantly chasing because you're not allowing yourself to settle down, you know, and be content. If you can't settle down and just slow down and look at things and appreciate them, life is going to feel empty. It's going to feel lack of fulfillment it's going to feel less impactful than it should when you settle down and slow down because if you're constantly chasing something, and chasing isn't good at anything, relationships, things, especially when the chasing involves you trying to, I guess, cover up the incompleteness that you constantly show. Um, because at the end of the day, whatever you think, whatever you believe in can manifest into the real world. If you think that you are worthless and incomplete, it's gonna show. Um, I just believe that, if you feel like life is empty, maybe see if you're chasing something that isn't worth like whatever desire you may be chasing or going afterwards. If it's not going to lead to a more positive version of yourself, don't go for it. And appreciating the little things of life can make the world seem full and full of you know, full of authentic art and beauty. You can go outside and look at grass, like, yeah, it's just grass. But if you have that skill to appreciate and really look at stuff and observe things more on the the awareness of like, this is grass. I know that sounds stupid, but being able to appreciate the little things in life, especially when it comes to like things you find enjoyment in. Like I find enjoyment in nature. I find appreciation in nature, and it makes me happy. Makes me really happy, and that can make life feel more, I guess, lively. And arts and is a way of expressing one's own emotions. And obviously, whatever I look at and observe, I'm going to kind of twist it in whatever meaning I can relate to. Because I feel like everyone does that as humans. Like whatever we see, we twist in our own meaning to relate to. And I feel like being relatable or relatability is important. That's a nice topic I could talk about. Hey, it might be next video. Who knows? And gratitude is turning what you have into enough. That's a quote that I saw when, um, I guess researching, like what appreciation can lead to in gratitude. Because most of the things that I like talk about, I try to get a bit of background on it. Most of it I usually just come from my head, but I completely, gratitude is turning what you have is into enough. That like that feeling of completeness, that enoughness gives you the, like, I guess that more of like I'm thankful for this thing because I own this, not in like the possessive way where you like it's like I guess cocky, but more in the sense of like there's people that have it worse, out there. Obviously that's more of a comparison of like I guess gratitude, but still comparison at the end of the day. But there's people that have it worse than me, and it's sad to think about because usually when I'm driving or biking, I see people that are homeless on the side of the streets, and it makes me a bit emotional and see like I feel bad. And at the end of the day, there's not much I can do, but anyways, pursuing in what you lack can give room for growth, but appreciating is the first step. Pursuing in what you lack, like if you pursue once again, and the means of trying to complete your incompleteness, that's bad. But it can give room for growth. Like if you pursue things that lead to growth, that's a good thing. Keep that hobby, or not that hobby, keep that interest, keep that trait. But appreciating is the first step. If you can't appreciate yourself as a person, you're not gonna lead to growth. You're gonna grow into something you don't appreciate. If you're a character or something that you don't appreciate, then what's the point? You built something, I mean, beautiful. I mean, yeah, it's still beautiful, but at the end of the day, if you don't appreciate yourself, if you're not, I guess, joyful to be yourself, then what's the point? Because that's what can make life feel like you're watching from the sidelines. If you built something you're not proud of. And that passion of building something, I feel like, is important, especially when it comes to anything. People chase because they aren't whole and lack self-love. Um, I feel like that's something a lot of I feel like that's the key thing why people chase is they aren't whole, they aren't complete. And, people think if I constantly chase, I will eventually fill this empty void that I feel. Yeah, what fills the empty void is yourself, self-love. And self-love can lead to growth, completeness, and, a more ideal version of yourself. Don't pursue what is out of reach. Um, there's another thing I saw on Pinterest. It was like only fools trip on what's behind them. And it has nothing to do with what I said, but what I mean by like don't pursue what's out of reach is like the past, unrealistic ideals, geez, and identities you aren't proud of in the future. Like obviously be a bit delusional when it comes to setting goals because be like authentically delusional. Like don't be like delusional where you're like, I'm gonna do this, but you don't do it. Like don't pursue what's out of reach because if you're never gonna reach it, that's chasing right there. You're in a state of like chasing, especially when it comes to like being in the past or the future. Like if you're in the past, you're in a time that doesn't exist no more, and in that sort of a sense is an act of chasing. Sorry for all the stuttering. I don't know. Just woke up. Reframe your thoughts from "I can't have this" or "I don't have this" from or to "I'm grateful for this." I think that's a simple and very powerful way of thinking of I don't have this to I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for what I have around me, for what I stand for, who the person I am, rather than I don't have this. I don't like the person I am, and I'm not grateful for the things around me. That's like that's being a negative Nancy. You're seeing through the lens of negativity. And I think that's important to always like have that mindset or always have that like self-talk where you believe that you can that's more positive stuff. Like rather for example, like, don't say I dislike myself. Say I'm in a state of growing. I'm not completely content with myself, but I still love myself. And I'm giving myself patience and compassion. Always have an optimistic view when it comes to yourself or just things when you perceive the world, have an optimistic view. Yes, it can be hard sometimes, but I think that's the key of making life more happy. You lose yourself when you don't notice how far you've come. If you never notice the small improvements, you forget you forget you are becoming. You get stuck seeing your flaws, failures, and what you haven't achieved. This makes you feel lost, even though you've made genuine progress. This is self gratitude and self love because you're fully present for yourself and have appreciation. This connects to like the idea of growing as a person. Like if you can't appreciate, who you are and how far you've come, you're gonna lack self-love and appreciation. If you lack those two things, which like I think is a important brick for the foundation of building yourself as a person, it's gonna be faulty. It's gonna, eventually collapse. You have to be grateful for yourself. You have to have that appreciation for I made progress. Even though I may not see it yet, you've made progress. Like life unfolds in ways that you don't even recognize. Like it's so weird. Like eventually maybe in the future, like I'll see like I really grown so far. Like obviously when I think of myself from right now in the state that I'm in right now, there's a lot of versions of myself that I find really corny and like why did I do that? But that's like signs of growth. That's like genuine signs of growth. Like since I see that in a weird way, and I'm not doing that anymore, that's signs of growth. That's good. You don't realize how much you miss something until it's gone. This is also can appreciate to the appreciation thing. If you don't appreciate people, hobbies, interests, things, states right now, when it's gone, you're gonna miss it a lot. So be appreciative of the things around you and within you. Um, that's a weird feeling, missing something or someone. It's a weird feeling because you know that appreciation, like, you had appreciation at one point, but eventually, even still, you can have appreciation for something. And if it fades away or I guess it isn't doesn't play a role within your life no more, you're still gonna miss it. I mean, regardless. And that's being human, that's important. I think that's an important aspect of life is miss that feeling of missing something's really cool to me. Also, be mindful, just be open-minded, like, be mindful of the things around you, and mindfulness is good when it comes to appreciation and gratitude, which the whole episode is about today. So, hope you guys are enjoying. That's like one more thing, and then the video ends. Life feels better when you shift from having more to see when you shift it from having more to seeing more. And that's a quote that I made myself. Thought that was pretty good. When you shift that, perspective of having more, I want to have more, to I see more, I can observe more. Observing in itself what leads to the appreciation. Like, if you can observe things and really, like, I guess, analyze things, be an analytic person, it can lead to that appreciation of, like, I see things and I'm appreciative for its beauty, its meaning, its role in life. And, you know, always, I mean, obviously, have more. If you wanna chase goals, go for them. Chase those things that you want to have. But if it's in the means of trying to, I guess, fulfill yourself in a way because you don't like this ideal version of yourself, like, for example, if you want to, like, self-improvement, but you're using self-improvement as a means to change as a person because you don't like your current self, that's bad. I mean, obviously, improving yourself in the act of self-love and appreciation, but don't improve in yourself because you hate yourself. Like, you can't build a foundation off of hate or resentment or anything honestly negative. I feel like anything with, like, any type of friendship, relationship, self relationship, you always have to start the foundation with some type of positivity, especially with love. I think everything in life is built within love. Love is key in everything, honestly. And if you lack love on the first step, the first brick of a relationship, how is it gonna turn out? It's gonna be very toxic and bad. Obviously, you can still fix relationships if they turn out bad, and you can turn a bad into a good real easily. You just have to have the intention to change it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Um, Sorry if I was stuttering a lot. I don't know, brain's a little foggy because I just woke up, and I don't really usually record this early in the morning. But thank you for listening, whoever made it to the end. Just, you know, hope you have an amazing day. I will probably post again like a day or two because I want to keep moving and posting and talking about more topics because I'm really passionate about this stuff. I really like this, and I'm hopefully helping a lot of people. So, anyways, good morning, good night, good afternoon, and good evening. Bye, bye, guys.